When it comes to investing in the stock market, you have likely heard a lot of myths and lies around it, okay? You may have heard that you'll lose all your money. You may have heard that it's only for the rich and the wealthy and the old white men. You may have heard that it's too risky, and I want you to think about where you heard this from. Was it social media? Was it your family? Was it friends? Because if so, those people are either leading you down a path where you're not clear, or two, they've made bad investments and they didn't understand the education or have knowledge around them. And that's not what we're about, baby. We are about growing our money realistically and being knowledgeable investors. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about 4 lies that are keeping you from building wealth and what you can do instead to get ready to start investing or to become a better investor if you already are investing. So before we get into it, hey girl, hey, my name is Joshlyn and I am the founder of Maximize Money, where I teach 9-to-5 working women how to invest in the stock market and grow their wealth and grow their money with confidence, because building wealth is not just for the rich and old and wealthy, baby. It's for you and me and anybody at any income level. I'm normalizing that, and I want you to normalize it in your life as well. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk about 4 lies that you've likely heard or you've seen as it relates to investing in the stock market. Now, the first one, the first lie that you've likely heard about investing in the stock market is that you will get rich quick. And baby, I'm here to tell you, you will not get rich quick. Investing is not a lottery ticket, okay? I have been investing since 2018. I was very hands-on with my investment advisor for those first 3 years, but in 2021, I got super clear about investing and recognizing that I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this because I want to be consistent. I want my money to grow, and that's not going to happen overnight. No matter what these people on social media is telling you, baby, don't listen to them. Unless they can give you receipts, don't. What a lot of them are likely doing is trading. They may be trading their stocks, their bonds that they're purchasing, their ETFs. And that's essentially basically buying and selling consistently but that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is buying investments and holding them for a long time, as long as they make sense. Now, we're not just keeping things that are continuously tanking year after year, but you're not going to get rich quick. And if you want to get rich quick, baby, you need to scam. And that's not a recommendation. But we are focused on turning our money into more money without trading our time for it. That is the beauty of the stock market investing. A lot of what we're doing right now is working. We're working for ourselves within our businesses. We're working for our jobs. And that is all active income. Investing will move your active income that we're trading our time and our energy for into passive income that comes to us while we're sleeping, while we're on vacation, while we're spending time with our families. And that's what you want to lock into, because the money is going to get spent regardless. And I want you to spend it on stuff that's going to allow you to live the life that you've always wanted, that flexibility, that freedom, that financial independence. So investing is not a get rich quick scheme, okay? You're going to need to put in a good 5 to 10 years to really see it happen, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, as someone who is 8 years in the game, that it is absolutely worth it, y'all. The second lie that you've heard about investing in the stock market likely is that it is only for rich or old people, okay? Heavy on the old people, old white rich men is likely what you think about when it comes to investing. And look at me. I am a Black woman talking about investing in the stock market. I've been investing, again, for the past 8 years. And I will say the one thing that I wish I would have done is start earlier, y'all. I'm in my late 30s. I got serious about investing in my early 30s. And if I could go back in time, I would have been fresh out of college investing. I probably would have been in college investing and getting the knowledge, because the earlier you start, even if it's with a small amount, $50, $100, the more money you can make over time and truly shorten the amount of time that you work. I know you don't like working. I don't like working, but I'm thankful to have a job, because this job is a part of my financial independence retirement plan. But I'm going to pop up a video about compounding interest. And if you don't know what compounding interest is, essentially it is the interest that your interest is earning by investing, okay? So there is no other avenue from a financial perspective where your money can grow without you being involved in it. It happens hands off. And the bigger your account is, the bigger your portfolio is, the more opportunity you have to earn this compounding interest. So I'm going to pop up a video on the screen of me walking you through a compound interest calculator so you can see the numbers in real time, baby, and see what you have an opportunity to earn the sooner you start investing. I'm going to show you what compound interest looks like in real time because, you know, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Okay, so let's do this calculation. So SoFi is a popular bank. Yeah, it's a bank, and they have out of all the compound interest calculators I've seen, I really like this one the most. And we're gonna play around with some numbers. Okay, so let's say you know you have about $500 that you want to start investing in. We're gonna put that in, you know, and then we're going to ignore these numbers right now. And then we have a monthly contribution that we're going to continue to add. You know, that was the initial deposit that we put into a Roth IRA as an example. And then, you know, we want to continue to contribute monthly. Let's say we're just going to do $100, you know. And as I mentioned at some point in this video, the expected annual return for the stock market is historically between 7 and 10%. I'll show you what it looks like at 7%, and then I'll show you what it looks at 10%. If I'm honest, the last couple of years, it's been around 11 to 13, which is obviously good for us. If you're an investor, you want it to be as high as possible, okay? But let's see what it looks like at 7, and then we'll do it at 10, okay? So let's say we have about 10 years, you know, that we want to leave this money alone and let it grow. We're going to leave it at 10 years here. And then the compound frequency, as I mentioned, we're thinking annually here. Are you earning compounding interest every single day, every single month? Yes. But it really depends on what kind of investments you have, you know, what kind of, are you investing in the S&P 500 versus total stock? So it's just better to leave it at annual unless you're choosing something specific where it actually is better to, you know, calculate this on a monthly perspective. But I think just holistically across the board, across all types of stocks, all types of markets that are being tracked, again, S&P, total stock, it just makes sense to leave it at frequency. So the good news for you is that all of these calculations are right below. So I'm going to include the link to this calculator. It is free on in the description, but this is what it look like for you, you know, assuming that it's a 7% return every single year at a $500 deposit, a monthly contribution of $100 every single month for the next 10 years. Your future balance will be a little over $17,000, and what you will have deposited by then is $12,000, which means the interest that you've earned is around $5,000, and that's not even including the growth associated with this account, you guys. You know, there are growth stocks, you know, there are dividends. Like, this is just based off the 7%, but there's so many other things that you might want to be able to consider, which is why it's always a good idea to have something consistent. Like, imagine if we didn't have this and it was just $0. Look at what you'd have. You've had little to nothing because your growth hasn't happened. The contribution stayed at 5. That went so further down. You know, we're at 983 and we were just at, where were we? At 17. You know, granted you contributed more, but $5,000 of doing nothing, and this is just $100. You're going to be increasing this over time. You're going to likely have bigger chunks to drop in to your investments. This is just assuming nothing else changes and it's only one account, okay? This is likely just maybe a Roth IRA, and you should be maxing that out anyway. So, yeah, that's that. So let's assume that it's 10% instead. We have this $500. You know, we're doing this monthly contribution for $100 for the next 10 years. Let's see what 10% will do for us. 10% will give you, you know, the deposit still $12,500. The initial was still there, and you're contributing $100 every single month. You will have earned almost $8,000 for doing nothing, but contributing this $100 every single month, which you're likely going to want to increase over time. So that is the power of investing. Your money is growing, okay? Let's not even talk about those high wins where it may be 20% one year. It may be 15% one year, you know? Now, granted, I always like to just assume 7% because inflation. We've talked about inflation. Inflation is usually between 2 to 3%. So even if it is 10%, you're likely not going to see all that because the cost of goods and services are increasing. So I usually try to stay around the 7%. Or whatever the rate of return is for that year. I just automatically subtract 3%, just because inflation is something I have no control over. Now, let's assume we had $1,000 instead. $1,000. So then we do this monthly contribution at a 7% rate of return annually for 10 years. We will have contributed $13,000. The $1,000 deposit, we would have earned, $5,500, and that would get you at $18,000 in the next 10 years. Okay. Now let's see what it will look like at 10%. At 10%, $21,000. Okay. For doing nothing but giving this $100 every single month and riding the wave of the market, not touching it, not taking it out, setting it aside for 10 minutes, 10 years. That is the power of investing. And again, this is just a general, thing. Like, there's going to be years where the market does super well. There's going to be years where it may tank a little, but it'll balance itself out and always stay around that 7 to 10% rank. So hopefully this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to include the link to this calculator in the description so you can play around with this yourself. And again, I'm all about education. Like, we have to learn these things. We have to do these things so we understand, what we have to do to grow our money and not trade our time for it. So let's get back to the video. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Again, compounding interest is your friend. This is so amazing. It's a way for us to truly grow our money without trading our time for it. I know you're tired of working, baby. You can be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or even your 50s. But one thing I know for myself and what I want for you is to shorten the amount of time that we are working on these jobs, y'all. We know how stressed it is to work in corporate America, okay? We know how stressful this is. And one of the surefire ways, nowadays surefire, but one of the best ways to grow your money without you having to get side hustles, more degrees, and all of that is learning how to invest in the stock market, y'all. That is literally why my channel exists. And the sooner you start, the better. If you're in your 20s watching this and you know that you want to invest, please get serious about it. If you haven't already, baby, like, comment, share, subscribe. Take my Investor Ready quiz, y'all. Like, it is a quiz that basically tells you the next step on your investment journey. A lot of us are ready to invest and we don't know it. A lot of us are almost ready to invest and we feel like we need 5 years to prepare. And a lot of us just don't know what we don't know, and we just want that personalized advice on how to move forward. I have advice and resources for all three buckets because based on the work that I've done in this space, most people fall into that. They're ready and they don't know it. They're almost ready. They have the savings, but they are scared to pull the plug because they don't know what they don't know. And then the other people are like, yes, girl, I want to invest. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't have no emergency fund, but I'm locked in and I want to get this together. You are all in the right place if you fall into any one of those buckets. So go ahead. It is a free quiz. It's my free quiz. It's called the Investor Readiness Quiz, and it basically asks you about 7 questions to understand where your mindset is, where you are financially, and what your goals are so that you are clear on the next step. And again, I've written all of this stuff out. So it's going to come to your email. The results of the quiz are going to come to your email. And then I have different resources that I can share with you that are, most of them are free, and it'll help you basically get over that hump because a lot of us, again, don't know what we don't know. We don't know what that next step is. I break it all of it down, but it's based on what your quiz results are. It'll tell you where you are and how close you are to being ready to invest. This is a journey. This is a process, but we're not going to take 5 years to get it done. I know that. If you're on this channel, you're going to be investing within the next year fooling with me, okay? So let's get into that. That is linked in the description. And again, it's my free investor, HER, emphasis on the her, readiness quiz. This is for my 9-to-5 working women who want to get clear on what their investment journey needs to look like and what the first step is that they need to take to get closer to it. So that is linked in the description. The third lie that you've likely been told about investing in the stock market is that you will lose all your money. And again, y'all, I have been in this game. I say 8 years because that's when I've actually been active in learning, but I've had a 401k since a 401k could be had by me, okay? From the very first job that was offering one, but the thing was, I spent so much time not even knowing what the heck it was. I just knew it was an account that I needed to put money in and that they would, match a percentage of what was in there, and that sounded good to me. It sounded like free money, which is truly what it was. But I didn't take the time to educate myself on how I needed to be monitoring those investments, how I needed to be tracking them, how I had all these free resources that I didn't even know about attached to this account, this 401k or 403b. You may have that if you work as a teacher, any kind of government related work. Like, you're not going to lose all your money. I have been doing this, again, actively for 8 years. Yes, the stock market fluctuates. It goes up and down consistently. But have I ever logged in and saw a $0 balance? No, okay? And that is why we're investing for the long term, because the sooner you start, the more leeway you have. You have 10 years, 15 years, even 5 years to ride out the wave of those investments. And that way, when it's time for you to pull out the money, not all of it, but when it's time for you to pull out a certain percentage of the money and live on it, you have grown that money through compound interest. We just talked about that. There's been some growth in your account. You've been consistently adding to it so that the growth of your investments grow, the growth of your portfolio grows, and you have millions that you're working with instead of a couple of thousand. So that's what we're about, baby. You're not going to lose all your money unless you decide to make risky investments. That's why you have to know what to invest in. You have to know what type of investments are out there and what makes sense for your risk tolerance and what you actually understand. A lot of people are investing in stuff because they've seen it. They've seen somebody invest, on social media. They've seen them highlight different stocks and bonds without even understanding, does this make sense for me in my life and my goals? Or am I just copying and pasting somebody's portfolio? I guarantee you, I've done that before. That was my 2020, and I learned my lesson, and I don't want that for you. In this channel, and on this channel, and with Maximize Money, I'm breaking down the psychology of investing. I'm breaking down how to choose the right investments. I'm breaking down what type of accounts you need to be using, because all accounts are not created equal, baby. And I'm doing this with the 9-to-5 earning working woman in mind, because that is me. Yes, I have a side business. It's not a side business. Yes, I have a business. Yes, I'm a real estate investor, but at my core, I am an owner. I'm an owner of assets, and these assets are these stocks, y'all, these bonds, these ETFs, index funds. We talking about all of that, and I'm going to break it down in a way that's digestible and actionable for you, okay? So you will not lose all of your money. Please stop letting them lie to you, okay? There is risk, but with education and time, you'll be able to maximize your money. Minimize your risk and grow your wealth and grow your money safely. And then the fourth lie that you've likely heard as it relates to investing in the stock market is that it is too complicated. Now think about who's been telling you that. What do they look like? Please comment below and let me know what they look like and what you think of when you think of investors. Because I guarantee you, they probably don't look like me. And that's why I'm here, because I am tired of investing being something so secretive. It's been gatekept for too long. And baby, I'm trying to knock on the door and kick it in and get more people that look like me in there. More women, more black people, period. But this is a black women's channel, and my priority is always going to be for my fellow black women. But no matter who you are watching this, baby, I want you to win too. Investing is not out of reach for you. You just need somebody to break it down in plain English, in actionable steps, with education, confidence, and not telling you what to do, but telling you why you should do something and how to choose the best options for you, okay? Just because I invest primarily in ETFs, that may not be the best option for you. Just because I invest primarily in the S&P 500, that might not be the best fit for you, which is why I want you to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to this video. Turn your notifications on, because I have series on series planned, y'all, for these next couple of months where I break all of this down. I am so action-oriented with everything that I do, baby. I don't just sit on here and talk. I give you tips. I give you tools. I give you next steps, which is what I'm about to head into right now, okay? So investing is not too complicated. We're going to break it down. I have my whole brand, my whole business is around making investing realistic and relatable and educational and knowledgeable for the everyday 9-to-5 working woman, baby. The last thing we want to do is make another job out of investing. Our money should be working for us no matter what we're doing, whether we're at work or sleep. The money should be growing, baby, and I'm going to show you how to do it within the stock market. So my next steps, as I mentioned, just to give you a quick recap before I get into those, is number one, you will not get rich quick when it comes to investing. I'm sorry. You need to be scamming or you need to be trying to learn how to trade. But trading is, I don't trade, okay? Just to put things in context, I'm a certified financial educator and I don't trade. I stay in my lane and I invest in what I understand. Two is that the second lie you've heard is likely that it's only for rich or old people. Old white men is likely what you think of when it comes to investing. Look at me, a black woman with a multi-six-figure portfolio that I'm gonna help you get to. Third is that you might have heard that you'll lose all your money. Again, there has never been a day when I've logged in and saw $0. Have I seen red? Yes, I have seen red. I've seen big drops. But the beauty of the stock market is that it continuously goes this. And that's why we talk, and that's why I talk about long-term investing and growth. You know, we're all about growth. We're all about reinvesting our dividends. We're going to talk about all of that, including the different type of investing terms that sound hella complicated and they ain't, okay? And then the fourth lie is likely that it's too complicated, and that's because it's been gatekept. Investing is for everybody. I don't care what your income level is. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how old you are. I want more people that look like me to be investing, especially if you are a Black woman, okay? So, again, I'm all about action items, baby. The next steps I want you to take immediately, and I mean immediately within 24 hours of this video, is number one, take my free InvestHER readiness quiz. If you don't know what your next step is, if you don't know how ready you are as it relates to investing, you may be more ready than you think, or you may just need to do one or two things to get ready for investing, or you just have a longer journey, and that's okay. I have personalized next steps for each of those buckets, depending on where you fall. I'm going to tell you what you need to do next, you know, because I've been in all three, okay? I've been in all three, so no shame, no judgment. We're going to get you ready, though, and I guarantee you within the next, I want to say 90 days. Within the next 90 days, the majority of you all that are watching this video will be investing. I guarantee you. The second thing I want you to do is write down a myth, an investing myth that you've likely heard, or one that's holding you back. If it's one of these, let me know which one of these you resonate with. If it's not one of those, just put it in the comments below, because we need to normalize that these myths and these lies are just what they are. They're myths and lies, and we're committed to not allowing them to hold us back anymore. And then the last thing is to, of course, like, comment, share, and subscribe, because the next video, now that we've cleared out all the lies as it relates to what investing in the stock market means, we're going to talk about what's actually true, okay? I'm going to highlight what you really need to know about investing. I'm going to talk about the 4 truths, the 4 things that are super important for you to be aware of on next week's video. So go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Share this with someone, another fellow 9-to-5 working woman who wants to get serious about investing, baby. It is the end of 2025, y'all, and I want 2026 to look a lot better for a lot of us. And I don't want us to talk about wanting to invest. I want us to be investing. So if you lock in with me, I'm willing to lock in with you. So check out, again, the InvestHER readiness quiz. Comment below with some myths that you've heard, or one of these myths that I've highlighted, which one resonates with you, that's the loudest in your life. And again, like and comment, subscribe. You know, turn on notification bells, because again, next week we're going to talk about 4 things you need to know about investing that are actually true, and that'll save you a lot of time, money, and heartache, okay? So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.